Hi, welcome to the live stream. I'm Vivek and I'm here to do the post-match analysis of the match between India versus Australia, the third T20I that was a decider that was played in Hyderabad. I'll be talking about the key moments of the match and we'll look at both the innings, the Australia's batting innings and India's batting innings as well. And we'll talk about the key moments and the key factors that helped India win the match. Just to give you a summary of what happened in the match, so Australia batted first. They scored 186 for the loss of 7 wickets in their 20 overs, and India chased that target down in 19.5 overs. It was quite a close game at the end, but let's look at the match and let's try and understand what were the key moments. Before talking about the key moments, I think I want to talk about the pitch as well. The pitch was really good for batting. Although once the ball got softer, it sort of started gripping. It was gripping on the surface and it was a bit difficult to bat on. Not that difficult because the pitch was quite flat, but it was gripping a bit. So it helped the spinners, but they were still able to score runs because there was around like 360 odd runs scored in this match. So it was still a good wicket for batting. So let's start with Australia's batting innings. I think once again the way Cameron Green batted, the way he has batted throughout the series actually, the way he comes out with his clear mindset, it feels so refreshing in a T20 match because generally you see when openers come out to bat, they sort of take their time, they take like 3 to 4 deliveries to just get an understanding of the pitch. But whereas when you see players like Cameron Green and he's trying to attack from the first ball, that is really refreshing to see. I think the other good thing that he does is that he attacks both the spinners and the fast bowlers equally. Because sometimes you see players like him who come out so aggressive to bat. Sometimes it can happen that the player might play the fast bowlers well, but as soon as the spinners come, they sort of lose their momentum. But the way he kept his momentum up, whether they were fast bowlers or spinners, he just kept hitting them, and that was really good to see. And I think there is one other reason why he's able to play in such form or in such style. I think a lot has to be. You need to give a lot of credit to the Australian lower order as well, because you've seen in the past few matches the lower order is performing well, and I think because the lower order performs well, Cameron Green gets that much more license to score well or score fast in the beginning. You see, he's not caring about his wicket much. He's just trying to get after the bowlers right from the ball one. So I think his batting approach is so refreshing in T20 matches. So I think Cameron Green was one of the key, I wouldn't say key moment, but a key player in this match, and especially for Australia, the way he started. Because if you look at the other players around him, they were not able to bat with such a strike rate. But whereas when he started, it felt like any bowler was like Bumrah was bowling, or even Bhuvi was bowling, or even Chahal was bowling. Not Chahal actually. Even when Akshar was bowling, he was just getting after them. So that was really refreshing to see. And I think Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, to get him out, he did a really good job because again, like in the first match that happened between India and Australia, like you saw Akshar Patel just bowling that wide delivery where Cameron Green couldn't really reach the ball and he had to really extend his arms in trying to get the ball away. And I think that ball is really good to him, where you bowl a delivery that is out of his reach, that is way outside off stump. And it was very clever from Bhuvi that he also changed the pace. I think Cameron Green was a very key factor in this match. Let's move on to the next one. I think Akshar Patel, throughout the series, again, Akshar Patel has been really good for Rohit Sharma and for Team India, because Rohit Sharma sort of makes him bowl in the power plays these days, and I think for a spinner to bowl in a power play, you need to have a really big heart because you're bowling at a time where the batsmen are going after you, and he continuously did a good job for India throughout the series. I think like Cameron Green has a skill. I think the skill that Akshar possesses makes him that good a bowler. I think his skills, like he attacks the stumps a lot. He changes his pace very well. You saw the wicket of Aaron Finch where he just slowed it up. He bowled it that much more slower, inviting the batsman to hit him for six, and he gets wickets like that. And the other thing that makes him a really good bowler is from the trajectory that he bowls, he's quite a tall bowler. So from the trajectory that he bowls, he gets that extra bounce. And you saw because of that extra bounce, he got wicket like Inglis, and he got the wicket of Matthew Wade just because of the bounce. So I feel Akshar Patel was another key factor in this game. I think the next key moment of this game was the way India pulled things back. Like I discussed before when I was talking about the pitch, I think as soon as the ball became softer, it gripped that much more, and our spinners like Chahal and Akshar were able to bowl quite well because the ball was gripping. And you also need to give credit to Hardik Pandya as well, because even though he came in after the power play, he bowled at a time where Australia were losing wickets, but still to bowl those deliveries with bowling those hard lengths, and you could actually see he was getting that extra zip out of the pitch. So Hardik Pandya, Chahal, and even Akshar Patel, the way they got India back into the game, that was really good to see, and they used the pitch very well. So that was another key moment. And the next key moment was obviously Team David's batting. He came at a situation where Australia were losing their momentum a bit, but I think he understood that very well. The partnership that was between Inglis and Tim David sort of got Australia back on track to get that big score. So I think the partnership was really important, and I like the way Tim David went after the bowlers once he felt like, okay, only 3 overs are left, I can start hitting them. Because if you see his innings progression, when he came on to bat, he was not trying to hit every ball for a six or a boundary. He was trying to rotate, he was trying to keep Australia in the game. And as soon as Australia reached like 15 to 16 overs, I think then he realized that this is his opportunity to go big. And he did that really well. The other key moment of that particular innings, I felt, was Bhuvi and Bumrah's 18th and 19th over, which went for quite a lot of runs. I think throughout the Asia Cup and in the matches against Australia as well, we have seen that our Indian bowlers were not able to execute their death bowling plans that well. Because even in today's game, you saw that India's bowling, specifically Bhuvaneshwar Kumar and Bumrah, they sort of became predictable, I felt. Because when Bhuvi came on to bowl, he was going for those Yorkers, and to be fair with him, at least three out of like 4 or 3 out of 5 Yorkers actually landed well, and the batsmen were not able to score against that ball. But you saw he went for that Yorker ball again, and that, I think 2 of his balls turned into a full toss, and that was hit for, I think, 6 and a boundary from Tim David. So I think if you are that predictable in such crucial overs, right, the batsman sort of understands that. And same with Bumrah as well. Like even though Bumrah is an amazing death bowler, you saw that in the first few balls that he bowled, he was very predictable. He bowled one slower delivery and then he went for those Yorkers, and you saw batsmen sort of understood he's going to go for the Yorkers, and they played the lap shot as well. So I think that was a bit of problem where the bowlers became a little predictable. But I think again, the last over that Harshal Patel bowled, that was really good, because you could see in the last over, even though in the previous matches Harshal Patel was getting hit for runs, but in this match he actually held his nerve and he was not being that predictable. And because even if you see the wicket of Tim David, the wicket was not of a fuller delivery or something. He actually bowled a slow short delivery, and for which Tim David had to reach that, and then he got the wicket. So I think that kind of variation is really important in death bowling, which Harshal Patel did really well in this match, which he was not able to do in the previous matches. So that was really good to see, because he is one of our main bowlers going in the World Cup. So yep, I think the first innings, these were the key moments that I felt were very crucial. Now let's move on to India's batting performance, and let's look at that innings, and let's look at the key moments or the key players there. I think first and foremost, Australia started really well. They got both the openers out, although I was a bit surprised that they started off with Daniel Sams, to be honest, because I felt there was a lot of zip in the wicket, and they probably would have started with someone like Hazelwood or Pat Cummins. But credit to them that the tactic of bowling Daniel Sams actually worked, and he actually got the wicket of KL Rahul. So the tactic worked in their favor. And then they also took the wicket of Rohit Sharma, which I think Australia at that point where India lost the wicket of Rohit Sharma, Australia might have thought they were a slight they were slightly ahead of the game, but then came the crucial partnership that was there between Virat Kohli and Suryakumar Yadav, and I think that was the key factor or the key moment or the way they bat. The partnership was the game changing partnership for the match itself. So that was quite good. And I want to talk a bit more about the partnership because in such a situation where you lose two wickets, generally you see people uh, they sort of try to just take singles and try to take the game forward. They think that let's for the next 4 5 overs let's not try to hit any big shots. But I think that was really refreshing to see that players like Suryakumar Yadav and Virat Kohli, even though you lost two wickets, they were still trying to keep the momentum. They were still trying to score those boundaries and go for the sixes. So I thought that was really good because if you're chasing a target like 180 plus, you need to keep that momentum up, and they did a really good job with that. You saw Virat Kohli actually started off being that aggressor, but once he understood that Suryakumar Yadav was playing in a different zone, so Virat Kohli understood that really well. And then once Suryakumar started hitting the ball really well, Virat Kohli understood that okay, I just need to give him the signal and let him do what he's doing really well for the past year or so. So I think their partnership really helped India get back into the match, and I would say not just back, they went slightly ahead of the game because of that partnership. And the next thing that I want to talk about is about Suryakumar Yadav's batting itself. I think what Suryakumar Yadav has been doing for the past year or so, which I feel is different from what the others do, is that when you see a T20 innings where a batsman is batting at a strike rate of 180 or 190, you see most of the shots, or at least some of the shots, are pure power shots, or you see they are trying to slog, or they are trying to play shots in which they lose shape. But when you see Suryakumar Yadav's innings, I feel he bats a little differently from the other batsmen, because you see whenever he hits his shots, he's always trying to pick those gaps. He's always trying to play the field. And when you have such a player who's always playing the field and who can sort of almost play 360 degrees of the field, it becomes really tough for the fielding captain to actually set a field for him. And you could see that Aaron Finch was finding it really difficult because he was hitting you on the offside, he was hitting you towards backward point, he was hitting you towards fine leg, square leg, mid wicket, long on. So he's practically playing you 360, and setting a field for such a player is really tough, and that is what I think he does really well, playing the field. I think the second thing that he does really well is he plays those shots, or rather he hits those places where you ideally don't have a fielder, or you don't sort of keep a fielder. And I say this because he's one of those rare batsmen who play the short delivery straight on. Let me give you an example. I think you must have seen a ball where Pat Cummins sort of digged it in, and it was about like waist height, and it was quite straight, but he still managed to hit that over covers for a six. So I think that is like, you wouldn't expect batsmen to hit a short delivery that is near waist height and that is quite straight, to hit it over covers. You wouldn't expect when you as a bowler. So I think that is what he does to the opposition team. He's playing some shots or hitting those areas where you generally don't expect. And I think that is his biggest quality, because if you see players like, let's say, even Rohit Sharma or Virat Kohli, whenever you bowl a bit short to them, they sort of turn and hit that ball on the leg side. But whereas when Suryakumar Yadav bats, even if it is a bit short, he can hit you towards deep mid wicket, he can hit you towards cover as well, he can hit you towards long on as well. So I think that is a really big advantage when someone bowls short and they are able to hit it straight. So his batting was really exceptional, and the kind of form he's in, he clearly looks in a different zone, and I think he'll be a really crucial player for India for the World Cup. The next thing that I want to talk about is Cameron Green's bowling. I think Australia came back well after Suryakumar Yadav's wicket, because India were running away with the game, I felt, but the wicket of Suryakumar Yadav sort of halted that. And right after that, Cameron Green, I think he was a very his performance as a bowler was very underrated in this innings because he bowled like 3 overs and gave away 14 runs in a match where both the teams scored 180. I think giving away just 14 runs in 3 overs was really good, and I felt he out of all the Australian bowlers, I thought he used the pitch really well. You could see he was getting that zip out of that pitch. He was bowling the deliveries where someone like even Hardik Pandya was finding it difficult, and he was getting hurried on with that his bowling. So I feel Cameron Green did bowl really well in this match. And the next thing obviously is the way Australia came back in those like 3-4 overs where we felt India were running away with the game, but people like Cameron Green, Josh Hazelwood, and even someone like Pat Cummins, they sort of brought Australia back into the game, which was really good for the good because we were looking for a contest that was like tough, and it was really good to see that it went on to the 19th over. And then you come on to Hardik Pandya. So I think Hardik Pandya has evolved as a cricketer in the past 2 years, and the way he's finishing games really gives you that assurity. The way he's batting, the calmness that he shows throughout his innings is something that you can rely on very well. So I think the way Hardik Pandya finished that innings, because at one point you sort of felt like you needed 11 runs of like 6 balls. It could have gone anywhere because you lost. I mean, it was good that Virat Kohli hit that first ball for a six, but let's say Virat Kohli hadn't hit that ball for a six, and because you saw like 2-3 deliveries being dot balls as well, so it could have been a really tight game. It was a tight game, but it could have been really tight, much more tighter than this. But I think the calmness of Hardik Pandya did in. And I also want to talk about Daniel Sam's last over, because I felt the line that he was bowling was a bit weird, I would say, because he was going for those wide Yorkers with a short third man. And I think I spoke about this in my previous live stream as well. When as a bowler you are bowling those wide Yorkers or even the slower balls that land on those wide lines, I think if you're bowling those kind of deliveries, you need to have your short third man. You don't need to have your short third man. You rather have a third man placed. And I think the second factor about that is if you're bowling those deliveries, you're not looking to get the batsman out, which was the case. They were not trying to get Hardik Pandya out. They were just going for those dot deliveries. But I think you still can bowl those attacking lines and try to get the batsman out. So I felt the field that was there for that delivery was not quite right. So I think these were the points or the key moments or the key players rather that I felt were really important for both the innings, in Australia's innings and in India's innings as well. So that's about it. These were the key moments, and thank you for joining my live stream. If you have any questions or any opinions or any comments about the live stream or about the post-match analysis, please let me know in the comments. I'll be looking forward to your comments and opinions. Thank you.